There we go. Okay, so on that note, I don't think this daf is as hard as I thought. It wasn't certainly not as hard as Erev Yom Tov's daf, but you need a lot of math, a little bit of.
Tomorrow the daf is very short. I think tomorrow's
daf is very short, but it's a lot of calculations. But let's see. So Misha is up the Mishna, yeah. Listen, that the Olam's going on to do the daf a half hour after Yom Tov's over, 45 minutes. It should be a big schos. It's a big zach. Not too much learning going on in America right now, right? So I think. But anyway,
in Lakewood is starting at 9 o'clock.
What, the Seder? Baruch Hashem. Okay, so we beat him by a few.
That was Zeicher because I'm not Zeicher to get to daven for most of it. I caught up on 9 blocks today.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. All right. So Zog the Mishnah. You can show you Nasu Shtei Nashim. If a guy has 2 wives, Umesu, and both wives died. V'achakach Mesu, and after that he died. So both his wives died, and then he died. Now you got a lot of people yashining a lot of money, right? So I don't know if it's a lot of money, but there's a lot of yashin, right? Where there's a will, there's a relative. So right, the Yisaimim mevakshin kesuba simon, and the Yisaimim want the kesuba from their mother. Vein sham elashtei kesubos, but there's only 2 kesubas. There's only enough for 2 kesubas. So what do? Chalkan b'shava, they split it equally. Because, meaning, we were discussing the kesubas again, the kesubas bnin dichrin, which is that if a man has 2 wives, so each wife wants to make sure that that her kids get her Yerusha. But we said that bottom line is, according to the Torah, everybody yarshins the father. All kids yarshin the father. So you can't start allowing one wife's kids to yarshin from the other wife's kids. You can't allow that. So we said that the only way you can do it is if there's a little bit extra with which to make the Yerusha according to the Torah. So here we're talking about the first case in the Mishna is talking about where there was no extra money. The only money left from the father after he died was an exact money for each one's kesuba, and that's it. Now let's say one's kesuba was worth 1,000, and one's kesuba was only worth 500, right? So they're not going to want to split it equal, right? Why would they want to split it equal?
Twice a day.
Right? So that's right. Why would they want to split it equally? The guy with the $1,000 wife, the kids, the yoshin from that will want the $1,000, and the ones with the 500, well, they're going to want to split it because they're going to want 750. Again, you have one kesuba of 1,000. The Gemara is going to go through this, but the Gemara, you have one wife whose kesuba was 1,000. You have another wife who's 500. So kesuba's bnin dichrin should tell you that the 1,000 one's kids get the 1,000, and the 500 one's kids get the 500. But since there's no extra money here, so we don't do kesuba's bnin dichrin, and then they just have to split the 1,500, 750 each way. So the wealthier wife's kids lose out. Right? So that's what we have here. So
is that what Chalkin B'Shava means? Chalkin B'Shava means 750 each side? Or each kid is Yerish's father? The way
each kid.
Each kid. So if the first one has 12 kids and the second one has 2 kids, it's not 750 to the 12 and 750 to the 2.
No, everybody just splits equal.
Right.
All the kids split it equal. Yeah.
All the sons.
Yes, correct. Yeah, very good. So Hayisham Meiser dinar, but let's say there was one extra dinar which they can use to split. So Elu Naitlun Kesubos Iman, these take the kesuba of their mother, Elu Naitlun Kesubos Iman, and these take the kesuba of their mother, because since they can do the standard Torah Yerusha with that dinar, then the 1,000 one can get the 1,000 and the 500 gets the 1,000. Im Amru Yisaimim, Anachnu Mailim al Nichse Avinu Yafa dinar. So now these Yisaimim from the wealthier ones, they have they're smart. So what they do is they're going to say that they're going to make it into an extra dinar. You know how they're going to make it into an extra dinar? They're going to take the property and boost its worth by 1 dinar. Right? Whatever property is meshubin, they're going to boost the worth by 1 dinar. Right? So anachnu mailam al nifsei avinu yafed dinar kedei sheyetu kesuba ziman. Like this, now there's an extra dinar here, and each one. It's important to know this case. Again, really, the kesuba is worth 1,000 to one wife. Let's say using that example, and 500 to another wife. There's no extra money. If there would be even an extra dinar, that would be enough, right? But since there's no extra dinar, they don't have a choice. However, they can. What they want to do is a shtick, and they say, you know what? We'll estimate. We do this all the time when you need a good estimate on your house to get a good mortgage out. So you find a Hamish. What do you call those guys? Appraiser. There you go. You find a Hamish appraiser. He praises the house for a little higher and then give out. So that's what these Yisaimim from the $1,000 wife. So let's praise it a little higher. So that means there will be an extra dinar more than the kesuba, and then we'll be fine. So
this is allowed to do. So I can go have the appraiser do it higher just so I get more money.
That's what he's saying. That's where the Mishna wants to think that you could do that. Mishna says you can't do it. The Yisaimim have this idea, right? So meaning the Yisaimim from the 1,000 have this idea, right? Yeah. So, yeah. No, so let's see. So Imam Yisrael anachnu mailim al nifsei avinu yafed dinar. We're gonna up it a dinar so they could take their kesubas iman. Ain't shaymin lehen. You really don't listen to them. Ela shamin es anachasim bebeistin. You have to just evaluate it in beistin, not with some crooked appraiser, right? You got to do it in Bezdin, and whatever it's worth, it's worth. You can't pull this shtick. That's what the Mishnah is saying. The Gemara on Amid Beis is going to go through all sorts of other shticks based on this Mishnah. Fine. Last case. Is it the last case? Yeah. Hayusham nechasim b'roi. Let's say the father who died had nechasim, but they were only roi. Right? He didn't actually, it wasn't, how do you call it? It was not liquid. Right? That's the way it would be said, right? It's not liquid, it's tied up. But Lamaisi has it. So Einon Kibba Muchsuk, that's not like it was Muchsuk. And therefore, it does not count as the extra dinar. Even if there is a nechasim sheish machrayis, ain't a klum, there's nothing. Meaning, if he has nechasim that he's guaranteed because he sold the field, let's say, with achrayis, or right. So ain't on klum, it's nothing. Achi yesham nechasim sheyesham achrayis. He has to have actual nechasim that have achrayis. Yasser al shtei kesubas dinar, and he has to have the nechasim have to be worth more than the 2 kesubas, at least by a dinar. Right. So so we have a machlokes here. So whether what do you call metaltalin works towards the extra dinar, right? So that's what it is. So it's basically you have to know exactly what counts as the extra dinar with which to do the regular Yerusha, and then if you do have that, so you makayim the regular Yerusha with that dinar, and then each one could take their money from their respective mothers. Here, so the Gemara brings an example. This one has a kesuba of 1,000, and this one has 500. Dinar. So if there's an extra dinar, each one takes the kesuba of their mother. So one set of boys gets 1,000, and one set of boys gets 500. And the other ones take the kesuba of their mother, meaning each one takes the kesuba of the mother. But if not, then all the boys just have to split it equally. So the guys that have the more expensive kesuba lose out. Fine. So the Gemara says, Pshita, Reuben ben Ismatu. So let's say when the guy dies, he has a lot of money, and then the market crashes. So then by the time they get to Bezdin, let's say he dies on a Monday. By the time they get to Bezdin on Tuesday, right? The market crashed, and now he doesn't have a Meiser dinar. So when he died, there was an extra dinar, and now the Kesubos bnin dichrin should kick in. But when they came to split it, there was not. So Kvar Zachu ben Yarshin, the Yarshin already was Zaychet right after he dies, muatin. I'm sorry. So that's it. So therefore, that's pashut. That if it was worth a lot and then it tanked, kvar zacha ben yarshin. Then the yarshin already zacha the second he died, and they was considered an extra dinar. Muatim in Israbu, but what happens when the guy died? He did not have an extra dinar, and then all of a sudden one of his fields shot up in value. So now, do we look at it now as at the time of death, in which case it was not worth more, it was not a dinar more, or not? So Tashema, the Nichse, the Vei Bar Tzirtzur, Mu'atin bin Israbu. There was the Nechasim of Bar Tzirtzur that it was small amount, and then it grew, meaning it became worth a lot more. Also look at Rav Amram, and he came in front of Rav Amram, Amar Lahu, and he said to them, Zilu Paisenu, go make a deal with them, right? Lo yashkechu, but they didn't listen. So Amar Lahu, so he said to them, Eloi mefaisisu lahu. If you're not mefayis them, at least Matzah Yom Kippur something, right? Yom Kippur is supposed to be mefayis, right? So if you were not mefayis, right? Mechina lahu besilva delay maba dama. I'm going to hit you with a kite. Rashi says it's a thorn that's not going to bleed, right? Which means put him into chayrim.
So is this a suggestion that they should be mafayis them? Or this is like the Rabbanon are ruling this?
Yeah, it seems like the Rabbanon were they were sort of like saying, I think it would be a smart idea if you are Matthias them. Right? You're right. I don't know. Is that called a psak?
Because it's interesting because if they're sort of that, if the way it's the way you just said it, it's an interesting lashon to be Matthias them. I think it's a good idea for you to be Matthias with them. Like it's like an interesting lashon. I don't know.
That's the chiddush of the Gemara. Whatever comes out of Bezdin's mouth is a psak halacha. Doesn't matter if it sounded like it was an eitzah tov or not. That's the psak. You don't listen, chayrim.
What are you saying?
The Bezdin said it as if it was an eitzah tov kamash one.
Right, but that's
nice. Bezdin said it. That's psak halacha.
No, but it's not, because it's not a psak halacha, right? He's saying, I think you should be Matthias then.
But if you're not, then you're going to be punished.
Basically. Yeah.
So that means it is a psak halacha, really. Because if it's not a psak halacha, then okay, I think you should do this. And if you don't do it, nothing, there's no punishment.
He doesn't say, I think you have to, Eloi mefesrein elohu. If you do not be Matthias them.
But zilu paisaihu, and if you don't, then you're going to be punished.
Right, he says he's going to put him into chayrim if he doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. So it sort of is a psak halacha.
Right, but you can't say it's your standard. You can't say it's your standard psak, because the psak for not making a deal is not to go into chayrim. I think he was
but the psak for not listening to Talmid Chacham might be.
Right.
Oh, but they told these guys to be Matthias them. That is their psak halacha. It might not be the normal psak halacha, but for them, this is
it's what he's telling him.
It's the fifth Shulchan Aruch. It's not a psak halacha in the Shabur in the Shulchan Aruch, but it's not.
And every single Rav on earth gives a psak halacha that's not, you won't find everywhere.
No, but I think that's what it is. I think it's because he's what do you call it? He didn't listen to the Bezdin. The question is, why did Bezdin want it to be Matthias? Like Vasep is by this, right? I mean, people have fights all the time.
Maybe they want to set a precedence.
What? I don't know. Maybe. Either way, so they said to do it. So Shadrinu l'kamei Rav Nachman. He sent them in front of Rav Nachman. Amar lehen, he said to them, Kishem shemerubin v'nismatu. The psak is just like is a lot when it goes down, meaning if whatever he had went down in value, on Talmud Beis now, Zachu ben Yarshin, the Yarshin are Zoiche right away. Kach Muatim Nisrabu Zachu ben Yarshin. Muatim, if they're small amounts and they go up, then the Yarshin also, they already Yarshined it, and therefore it was not worth a dinar, even though later on it is worth a dinar, and that's it. Yeah. So basically he was saying that you work both ways. The Yerusha happens instantly, right, by death, and whatever the estate was worth by death, that's what they're gonna consider it. So again, if the estate was not worth anything more than each wife's kesuba, then they have to split it equally. If the estate was worth 1 dinar more, then each wife gets their own thing, their own kesuba. Fine. Then the word says Simin Aleph Umeya Mitzvah B'Kesuba Yaakov Zakov Sadoisa B'Dvarim Asikin. Basically, we have about a blot and a half of all sorts of financial wizardry, I guess, that people are trying to pull, all sorts of financial shticks to try and get out of things. So let's see. So in the Gemara, first,
Zakiva in Chicago for Yom Tov?
Who?
Zakiva in Chicago for Yom Tov?
No. Well, Akiva's sitting in my mother's house now. Yeah, yes, I told him. Yeah, he says not so bad today, but at davening, he says not so bad. These blood. I said, yeah, for an accountant, it's not so bad. Yeah. Anyway, so who Gavra? There was a man, Davamaskibe Alpha Zuza. He owed 1,000 zuz. Havale Trey Aftani, but he owed 1,000 zuz, but he had two Aftani. Aftani literally means palaces. He had two palaces. And he sold each one for 500. Right, which we'll see that it's l'chayra, means he sold them to the same guy for 500. So now, again, he owed $1,000. He had 2 palaces.
So he owed a lot of money.
Yes, he owed a lot of money.
Palaces, if that's the value of 2 palaces, so that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So right, so he owed $1,000. He had to sell 2 of his palaces, which is very commendable, right? He sold it. Now he has $1,000. So then the Baal Chayv heard about it. The guy he owes the money. Also Baal Chayv tarfa l'chad minayu. So the Baal Chayv came and said to the buyer, right? It's achrayis. You can't. You bought the field for 500 from him. I get it. I mean the palace for 500. I get it. He owes me money. Right? Hadar kataraf leidach. So that'd be only that one palace only gave him 500. He wanted to get 1,000. So hadar kataraf leidach. So shokal alpha zuzi because of lagabe. So he took the 1,000 zuz and he went to the guy who was owed the money. If you're gonna up the worth of the first mansion to 1,000, right, and then leave the other mansion alone, then fine. The Eloi, and if not, then shokal alpha zuzi v'stalik. Take 1,000 zuz and get out. Meaning he's basically forcing his hand. He's saying either you decide that one of the palaces is worth 1,000 and that's it, go home, or here's your $1,000, give me back the palace. Right? That was his way of trying to get back the palace.
What do we make it worth? I don't understand the case.
Yeah. What do you mean? What's the problem? He said so the Baal Chayv came and took one palace for 500. Then he wants to go get the other palace for 500. Yeah, but the guy who bought the mansion didn't want to lose it. The same guy bought both mansions. Right? He bought it for $1,000, and now it's going to get taken away from him because the guy he bought it from had a lien on the property and had to go to somebody else. Right? He didn't do what do you call those things? What they do before the mortgage?
He didn't do a title
first.
Title. He didn't call Lowy up. So why
Correct.
doesn't the guy go after the guy that got the $1,000? The seller. Why doesn't he go after the seller? Give me the $1,000 you got.
Yeah, so that's a whole different shmooze. Exactly how that works. All right, but the karka is meshubed.
Karka is meshubed, right? Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways. So shokal alpha zuzi v'ka'azul. So he took 1,000 zuz. The buyer took 1,000 zuz, went to the guy. Omar le, he said to him, "Ishavi loch alpha zuzi l'chay." If the mansion that you bought already is worth 1,000 zuz, so then
What do you
you're
mean?
out of here. You're good. You
What do you
already
mean it's
got your
worth 1,000 zuz? You bought it for 500.
right. So he's saying, well, wink, wink, we're going to make it worth 1,000. They're getting the appraiser to appraise it as 1,000, right? He says, so then go on your merry way. The Eloi, and if not, shokal alpha zuzi v'stalik. That's essentially what Naphtali said. Take the $1,000, right? Take the cash and give me back. You owed cash. The guy's saying, the buyer's saying you're owed cash. So take back your $1,000 and let me keep the mansion, right? So he thought that's exactly our Mishnah, right? That he said that if the Yisayimim said that we're gonna what do you call it? Inflate, right? That's what right. That would be the word. If you're gonna inflate the worth of the property, then it doesn't work. So I'm gonna rub it. It's not the same case. Hasam is like say the liyasmi. There, the Yisayimim are gonna have a loss, right? Meaning by these guys, by one set of Yisayimim jacking up the price of the field, the other Yisayim are going to lose. Because let's say there was $1,500, right? One set of Yisayim was 1,000 kesuba, and the other one was 500. If you're going to jack it up, so then what's going to happen is one set of kids is going to get 1,000, the other kid's going to get 500. If you don't jack it up, then each one's going to get 750. So there's going to be a loss to the other side here. But here, if you want to boost, you want to jack up the price of the palace and knock it up to $1,000, nobody's losing. Alpha Yov, Alpha Shokil. He gave 1,000 and he's getting back 1,000. So why can't you pull that shtick? The Gemara says, "V'tir for bekama kasvinon." And what are you going to write in the star of how much he's going to collect? Meaning, because the bottom line is you have to write a star to the guy that lost, the guy that didn't do the title search, so lost his property. So he gets a star that he's owed money from the lender, right? He's owed money from the guy he bought the house from. How much are you writing? Are you writing 500 or are you writing 1,000? So Vatir for Bekam Kasvina and Ravina Amar Ba'alpha. Ravina says 1,000. Ravina Amar B'chamesh Meyas, and Rav Avia says it's 500. The Hilchas of B'chamesh Meya, and the halacha is it gets written with 500. Fine, because that's the real worth. Then Gemara brings the exact same case, a freebie, mamish, the exact same thing. There was a guy who owed 100 zuz. And he had two small lands. He had one he sold for 50 and one he sold for 50. Which was the amount that he was in debt. So the Baal Chayv came and took away the field. Because he said, hey, that field goes to me. You should have done a title search. And then he wanted to go get the other field. Shakul kuf zuzi because of lagabe. So he took 100 zuz and he went in, and he said to him, Ishavi loch kuf zuzi l'chai. If you're going to make it worth 100, then great. V'iloi shakul kuf zuzi v'stalik. Take your 100 zuz and get out of here. I want to keep the field. So Savar Rabbi Yosef Meimer, Hainu Masnisin. That's our Mishnah. The Yisayim, inflate the price in order for it to make it better for them. Over there's a loss to the Yasim. Might say the Isla, what kind of loss is there? He gave 100 and he took 100. Right? It's the same exact Gemara. And what do you write the star? How much do you write? So Ravina Amar B'meya, Rav Avi Amar B'chamshin, Hilchasa B'chamshin. Right, so the halacha is that it gets evaluated as the legitimate price. Yeah, so okay, it's not the Mefarshim. I didn't have a chance to look them up to discuss why the Gemara is bringing the exact same case. It's mamash the exact same case. Fine, let's do one more case. Ahu Gabra, there was a guy who owed 100 zuz, shachiv. And then he died. Shavak Katina Da'ara Davashavi Chamshin Zuzi. He left a field, a small field that was worth 50 zuz. Also Bachayv Katarfle. So the Bachayv went and took it from him. Also Yasmi Yavule Chamshin Zuzi. The Simon went, gave him 50 zuz. Hada Katarfla. Right? So he took it and he wanted to go get the field because he wanted to go get the other 50. Also, look at mitzvah. There's a mitzvah on the assignment to pay back the chayv of their father, right? So hani mitzvah of disu. The first money you did a mitzvah, meaning the assignment did a mitzvah by bailing out their father's estate. Hashta ki tarif bidin katarif. But now that he's coming to collect the other field, then that's regular din. He was already taken care of by the assignment. Now he's coming to collect another field. That's already regular dinim of Baal Chayv. Right? So they're not mechuyev to do it. Right? So, and Memela, he can get the money. That's only if the assignment didn't say to the guy that this is the worth, it's 50 zuz for this field. But if they say that the 50 zuz is for the small field, then sluke salkua, then they knocked him out of the field already, and they already bought it back. Then it has no shaykhs to the debt anymore. Meaning, if they said to him that the field, this is the field, that's this is the 50, that's the worth of the field. So basically, that's what they basically estimated the field at. So therefore, it's the whole case is over. Yeah. Okay. I hope this is a little understandable. There's going to be a lot of these financial cases over the next plot and a half.
Where's the Indian for fleishiks tonight?
Because it's a suda.
Why?
It's carved to Yom Tiv. It's not mamash Yom Tiv, it's carved to Yom Tiv.
Zev, if you don't feel it, Mustama Yapatu.
I'm asking.
It's Yom Tiv.
No, I'm saying Yom Tiv. Tonight.
Tonight is
Yeah.
Yom Tiv.
I have a feeling that Gershon's still going to be wearing the talis in tomorrow's daf. I'm just saying. Jacob, no, what are you asking?
I can hear it. You know what? The Shulchan Aruch brings people that kept 2 days Yom Kippur. So if the only way he keeps it is wearing the talis, okay, that's an easy way out.
But he said he did 9 blot today.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem.
Not with his questions. I don't believe it.
Okay. Listen, you're Zeicha to get to shul. I'm not. So davening's a lot shorter for me.
Yeah. There you go.
I got to do something. What am I going to do? I learned.
I didn't say you didn't learn. I was saying I don't think 9 blot with your questions is more than in 1 day.
I counted the questions also. It's good.
Shkoyach.
Yeah. Listen, you got these guys that come into my mother. We have like a ganze kumsitz now at my mother's house, right? You got guys coming in their what do you call it?
I've missed it every single year. Yeah.
What?
I missed it every single year.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Since today's considered a Yom Tov, so Mela at night, there's a
tonight.
Suda?
No, tonight is considered a shtickle of Yom Tov.
Why?
I mean, I think you should go tell your wife to put up the soup with some halachos and let me know how that works out.
I
think you should try that.
Because you just came out of the Kodesh Kodashim with no chatoim. That's why.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sav, you feel it, no?
I'm not saying. I do feel it. I just want to understand this.
No, because it says in the pasuk in what's it called? Yeshaya, go. What's the pasuk say? Yeah, go and drink and be happy.
Yeah. I got an interesting child for you. You turn recording.